Hello, and welcome to this evening's orbital meditation. I'm the drowsy professor, and tonight we'll be floating among celestial rings of wonder. As you prepare for rest under Earth's familiar sky, let me know where in the world you're settling in and what time your local horizon shows. Now, close your eyes, picture delicate bands of light arcing gracefully overhead, and let's glide together into a realm where our planet wears a crown of cosmic beauty. Chapter 1. Welcome to our ringed world. Stretching across the heavens above you, like a bridge made of starlight and cosmic dust, are rings. Not just any rings, but Earth's own celestial crown, arcing gracefully from one horizon to the other in a display of ethereal beauty that takes your breath away. These aren't the harsh, dramatic rings of science fiction stories, but something far more gentle and dreamlike. Bands of soft light that seem to pulse with their own quiet rhythm, as if the planet itself is breathing slowly and peacefully. The rings catch the last rays of the setting sun, transforming them into ribbons of rose gold and pearl that dance across the sky. They're not solid like the rings you might wear on your finger, but rather composed of countless tiny particles of ice and rock, each one no larger than a snowflake, yet together creating this magnificent spectacle that has watched over humanity since the dawn of time. As you watch, these particles catch and scatter light in the most beautiful ways, creating patterns that shift and flow like water, like silk scarves floating on an invisible breeze. In this world, children have grown up pointing not just to the moon, but to the rings, learning to tell time not just by the sun's position, but by the way shadows from the rings create natural sundials across the landscape. Lovers have met beneath the rings' gentle glow. Farmers have planted their crops according to the rings' cycle of light and shadow, and philosophers have pondered the meaning of this celestial reminder that Earth is part of something much larger and more magnificent than we often remember. Tonight, as we explore this peaceful alternate reality together, you'll discover how different yet wonderful life might be on a ringed Earth. We'll walk through meadows where the grass grows in gentle stripes of light and shadow, visit shores where the rings reflect in calm waters like a second sky, and rest in forests where the canopy above is punctuated by beams of ring-filtered sunlight that dance and play throughout the day. But for now, simply rest in this meadow, feeling the soft earth beneath you, watching as the rings slowly rotate overhead in their ancient, patient dance. Notice how they seem to cradle the earth, holding it gently like a mother holds a sleeping child. The rings aren't racing or spinning violently, but moving with the slow, deliberate grace of something that is all the time in the world, something that understands the deep peace that comes from being exactly where you're meant to be. As the evening deepens around you, you can see that the rings aren't uniformly bright. Some sections glow with the warm amber of honey, while others shimmer with the cool silver of moonbeams. There are gaps between the ring's segments, like spaces between the notes of a gentle lullaby, places where the stars peek through to wink down at you with familiar constants. These gaps create a rhythm in the sky, a visual breathing that matches the slow rise and fall of your own chest as you sink deeper into relaxation. The temperature around you is perfect, neither too warm nor too cool, as if the rings themselves help to moderate the Earth's climate in ways both subtle and profound. You can feel a gentle breeze carrying the scent of jasmine and lavender, and somewhere in the distance, you hear the soft call of night birds settling into their roosts. Everything about this world feels designed for peace, for rest, for the kind of deep contentment that allows both body and mind to truly let go. As you lie back in the meadow, using your hands as a pillow, you notice that the rings seem to pulse very gently with a light that's almost like breathing. Scientists might tell you that this is caused by the way particles in the rings catch and reflect sunlight at different angles as Earth rotates. But tonight, it feels more magical than that. It feels like the planet itself has a heartbeat, slow and steady and infinitely comforting, a rhythm that connects you to every living thing that shares this ringed world. Imagine that you've lived your entire life under these rings, that every sunset and sunrise of your existence has been graced by their presence. Think about how different your relationship with the sky might be, how you might feel more connected to the cosmos, more aware of Earth's place in the vast dance of celestial bodies. The rings would be your constant companions, changing subtly with the seasons, providing comfort during difficult times, and always reminding you that you're part of something beautiful and enduring. In this peaceful world, the rings have given humanity a different sense of time. Instead of always rushing toward the next deadline or appointment, people pause more often to watch the ring shadows move across sundials carved into garden stones. They plan their days not just by clock time, but by ring time, understanding that they're the natural rhythm to life that's worth paying attention to. Children learn early to read the sky like a book, understanding that the ring's position tells them not just what time it is, but what season they're in, what weather might be coming, and how their ancestors navigated by these same celestial guides. The rings have also changed how humans think about beauty. Art and architecture in this world often incorporate flowing, curved lines that echo the ring's graceful arcs. Gardens are planted to create pleasing patterns when viewed under ring light, and buildings are positioned to take advantage of the way ring shadows create natural cooling and warming throughout the day. Music, too, has been influenced by the rings, with composers creating pieces that mirror the slow, cycling rhythms of the celestial bands overhead. As you rest in your meadow, you can almost hear that music now, a gentle symphony that seems to emerge from the very air around you. It's not played by instruments, but created by the subtle interaction of wind and leaf, water and stone, all harmonizing under the patient gaze of the rings. This is the music of a world at peace with itself, a world where the presence of the rings has taught humanity to slow down, to appreciate beauty, to understand that some of the most profound experiences come not from dramatic action, but from quiet observation and gentle being. The grass beneath you is soft and slightly cool now as the night air settles over the meadow. You can feel the Earth's solid presence supporting you, connecting you to the slow geological processes that, over millions of years, might have led to the formation of Earth's rings. Perhaps a moon drifted too close and was gently torn apart by gravitational forces, its remnants spreading out to form the beautiful bands you see above. Perhaps asteroids, caught in Earth's gravitational embrace, were gradually ground down into the countless particles that now create this nightly light show. Whatever their origin, the rings feel like they've always been there, like they're as natural and necessary as the moon, the sun, or the stars themselves. They're part of the fundamental architecture of this world, woven into the very fabric of existence in ways that make them impossible to imagine away. Trying to picture this Earth without its rings would be like trying to imagine the ocean without waves or a forest without trees. As you continue to gaze upward, you notice that your breathing has synchronized with the gentle pulsing of the ring light. Each inhale draws in the peace of this moment, and each exhale releases any remaining tension from your day. The rings seem to encourage this rhythm, their slow dance across the sky, serving as a visual meditation that helps quiet the busy chatter of everyday thoughts. Here, under the ringed sky, there's no need to solve problems or make plans. There's only the simple pleasure of existing in this beautiful moment, of being held gently by the earth while the rings keep their eternal watch overhead. The evening is growing deeper now, and you can see more stars beginning to appear in the gaps between the ring segments. Each star seems to twinkle with extra brightness, as if the rings somehow enhance their light, focusing and amplifying the cosmic radiance that travels so far to reach your eyes. You realize that on this ringed Earth, humanity has probably always felt more connected to the wider universe, more aware that Earth is just one beautiful world among countless others, all spinning through space in their own elegant dances. This awareness might have made the people of this world more philosophical, more inclined to wonder about their place in the grand scheme of things. But rather than making them feel small or insignificant, the rings might have given them a sense of being part of something magnificent, of being held and watched over by forces both cosmic and caring. The rings could be seen as Earth's crown, marking this planet as special, as chosen, as deserving of the kind of beauty that few worlds in the universe are blessed to wear. As these thoughts drift through your mind like gentle clouds, you feel yourself sinking deeper into the soft grass of the meadow, your body becoming heavier and more relaxed with each passing moment. The rings continue their slow wheel overhead, patient as ancient mountains, constant as the tide, beautiful as anything you've ever imagined. They seem to whisper without words that all is well, that you are safe, that this moment of peace is exactly where you're meant to be. In this ringed world, sleep would come easily. The gentle light from the rings would be like having a natural night light, soft enough not to disturb dreams, but bright enough to provide comfort to those who don't like complete darkness. Children would drift off to sleep watching the rings slowly turn overhead, and adults would find their insomnia gently dissolved by the meditative quality of the ring light patterns. The rings would also change the quality of dreams themselves. Perhaps, bathed in this cosmic radiance, people would dream more vividly, more peacefully, with themes that connected them to the larger universe and to the deep rhythms of the natural world. These dreams might feel less like the scattered fragments of daily experience and more like gentle journeys through landscapes of wonder and possibility. As you lie in your meadow, feeling the pull of that same peaceful sleep, you can sense that this is exactly what's beginning to happen to you. The rings overhead seem to be weaving a gentle spell of rest and contentment, their slow rotation marking the passage from wakefulness into the dreamy borderlands where anything is possible and everything is beautiful. Chapter 2. The Birth of Earth's Rings. As you drift deeper into the peaceful embrace of this ringed world, let your imagination carry you back through the vast corridors of time to an era when the Earth was young and the rings were yet to be born. Picture yourself floating gently through space and time, watching as the story of Earth's celestial crown unfolds in the most serene and beautiful way possible. Millions of years ago, when the Earth was still finding its rhythm in the cosmic dance, our planet was not alone in its immediate neighborhood. Imagine a time when Earth had a companion, a second moon, smaller than the one we know today, but no less beautiful. This ancient moon, which we might call Luna's sister, orbited our planet in a graceful ellipse, its surface covered in pristine ice and ancient rock, unmarked by the impacts that would later scar other celestial bodies. In this primordial time, the Earth below was a world of vast oceans and emerging continents, where the first complex life forms were beginning their slow journey toward consciousness. The skies were clearer then, the atmosphere thinner, and both moons would have been visible as twin guardians watching over the planet's gradual awakening. Luna's sister was perhaps half the size of our familiar moon, but what it lacked in size it made up for in beauty. Its surface covered with crystals of frozen water that caught and reflected sunlight like a cosmic mirror. For countless millennia, this celestial dance continued unchanged. The two moons rose and set in their ancient patterns, creating tides that were more complex and beautiful than anything we know today. The gravitational interplay between Earth and its two companions created rhythms that influenced everything from the migration patterns of early sea creatures to the way primitive plant life swayed in the primordial winds. But the universe has its own gentle way of creating change, and over the vast expanse of geological time, Luna's sister began to spiral slowly inward toward Earth. This wasn't a violent crash or a dramatic collision, but rather a gradual, almost imperceptible drawing together that took place over millions of years. The smaller moon's orbit began to decay as tidal forces, those same forces that move our oceans today, slowly sapped its orbital energy. As Luna's sister moved closer to Earth, something wonderful began to happen. The gravitational forces that held the small moon together started to compete with Earth's own gravitational pull. Imagine this as a gentle tug-of-war between two loving parents, each trying to hold onto their child, but neither wanting to cause harm. The moon's own gravity tried to keep its ice and rock together, while Earth's much stronger gravity began to pull individual pieces away. The process was so gradual that if you could have watched from space, it would have looked like a slow-motion dance of cosmic proportions. First, tiny particles of ice and dust began to drift away from Luna's sister, creating a faint halo around the small moon. These particles caught the sunlight and began to sparkle like scattered diamonds, the first hint of the magnificent display that was to come. As more time passed, larger chunks of rock and ice began to break away, but even this happened gently, like petals falling from a flower at the end of its season. Each piece that separated from Luna's sister didn't fly away into space, but instead remained captured by Earth's gravitational embrace, beginning to orbit our planet in the same general path that the small moon had followed. The transformation continued over thousands of years, a time span that seems long to us, but is merely a heartbeat in cosmic terms. Luna's sister gradually gave up more and more of itself to create something even more beautiful than what it had been. The moon was becoming a ring, transforming from a single celestial body into countless individual particles that would eventually spread out to form the magnificent bands we see in our imagined sky. Picture this process as you might watch snow falling on a calm winter evening. Each snowflake represents a piece of Luna's sister, drifting slowly and peacefully away from the parent body, joining the growing collection of particles that circle Earth. But instead of falling to the ground, these cosmic snowflakes remain suspended in space, held in perfect balance by the gravitational forces that govern all celestial motion. The ice particles, being lighter, began to spread out first, creating bands of brilliant white that caught and scattered sunlight in every direction. The rocky material, being denser, formed distinct bands of its own, creating the varied colors and textures that would eventually characterize Earth's rings. Some particles clumped together to form larger chunks, while others remained as fine as flour, all of them contributing to the growing spectacle. As you watch this gentle transformation in your mind's eye, notice how peaceful the entire process is. There are no explosions, no violent collisions, just the slow, patient work of gravity and time, creating something of incomparable beauty. The particles that once formed Luna's sister are not being destroyed, but rather transformed, given new purpose and new beauty as they spread out to embrace the entire planet. During this time, Earth's other moon, our familiar Luna, continued its own orbit, undisturbed by the gentle dissolution of its companion. If anything, Luna might have felt relieved to have the gravitational competition reduced, allowing it to settle into a more stable orbit. The interplay between the forming rings and the remaining moon would have created even more complex tidal patterns, influencing the development of life on Earth in ways both subtle and profound. The early Earth during this time would have been a world of constant, gentle change. The developing rings would have been visible during the day as a faint line across the sky, but it would have been at night that their true beauty became apparent. As the sun set, the rings would have begun to glow with reflected light, creating a bridge of radiance that connected the horizons and made the night sky something magical to behold. Early life forms on Earth would have evolved under this ringed sky, and perhaps this influenced their development in ways we can only imagine. Did the gentle rhythm of ring light and ring shadow create biological clocks that were more in tune with cosmic rhythms? Did the additional light from the rings allow for longer periods of photosynthesis, leading to more robust plant life? These questions have peaceful answers in our imagined world, where every influence of the rings is beneficial and beautiful. The process of ring formation would have taken several 100,000 years to complete, but eventually, Luna's sister would have given up the last of its material to create Earth's magnificent crown. The rings that resulted would have been much younger and more active than the ancient rings of Saturn, with particles still settling into their final orbits, still adjusting to the gravitational influences that would eventually organize them into the stable, beautiful bands we see today. In those early days, the rings would have been thicker and more chaotic, with occasional meteor showers as particles fell to Earth. But even these meteor showers would have been gentle affairs, creating beautiful streaks of light across the night sky as small pieces of Luna's sister completed their journey from space to Earth. These shooting stars would have been more frequent and more spectacular than anything we see today, turning every clear night into a celebration of cosmic beauty. As the eons passed, the rings gradually settled into their current configuration. The larger particles collected in distinct bands, separated by gaps where gravitational resonances with Luna kept the space clear. The smaller particles spread out to form the more diffuse bands that create the soft, ethereal glow we associate with our imagined Earth's rings. The system reached a kind of equilibrium, a perfect balance that could persist for millions of years. Throughout this process, the rings would have been slowly but constantly changing, particles occasionally colliding and breaking apart, or clumping together to form new structures. But these changes would have been subtle, visible only to those who watched the sky for generations, like the slow growth of a tree or the gradual erosion of a mountain. The rings would have been both constant and ever-changing, providing a sense of stability while also reminding observers that everything in the universe is in motion. Everything is growing and transforming in its own time. The birth of Earth's rings from Luna's sister would have been a gift from the cosmos, a transformation that created beauty from beauty, taking something wonderful and making it even more magnificent. The small moon sacrificed its individual existence to become something that could embrace the entire planet, to become a crown that would be visible from every point on Earth's surface. In this gentle cosmic recycling, nothing was truly lost. Every atom that had once been part of Luna's sister remained, but now spread out in a glorious display that would inspire countless generations of Earth's inhabitants. The moon's final act was to become something that could bring joy and wonder to every person who looked up at the night sky, a lasting gift that would endure long after the small moon's individual existence had ended. As you contemplate this beautiful origin story, you can feel the same sense of peaceful transformation happening within yourself. Just as Luna's sister gave up its form to become something more beautiful and far-reaching, you too are letting go of the tensions and concerns of the day, allowing them to transform into something more peaceful and restful. The story of the ring's birth is also the story of your own journey into sleep, a gentle dissolution of the boundaries between waking and dreaming, between the individual self and the larger universe of rest and rejuvenation. The rings overhead continue their ancient dance, each particle carrying within it the memory of Luna's sister, the memory of a moon that chose to become something even more beautiful than what it had been. And as you rest beneath this cosmic crown, you can feel yourself becoming part of that same story, part of the eternal cycle of transformation that connects all things in the universe. From the smallest particle of ring dust to the largest celestial body, all of them moving together in the endless, peaceful dance of existence that reinterclad poeta, cometer errors. Verifique las respuestas. Chapter 3. First Light Through the Rings. As the gentle story of the ring's birth settles into your mind like sediment in a calm lake, allow yourself to drift forward through time to witness the daily miracle that would greet every inhabitant of our ringed Earth. Picture yourself awakening in a world where dawn doesn't simply arrive as a golden disk rising over the horizon, but as something far more magnificent and soothing, a daily symphony of light and shadow that transforms the simple act of sunrise into a meditation on beauty itself. Imagine yourself lying in a comfortable bed in a room with large windows facing east, in a house built specifically to take advantage of the ring's daily light show. The walls are painted in soft, warm colors that will soon be transformed by the approaching dawn, and the windows are positioned so that you can watch the entire spectacle without even having to sit up. This is a world where architecture has evolved to honor the sky, where every home is designed as much for sky watching as for earthly comfort. In the deep blue hour before dawn, when most of the world still sleeps in peaceful darkness, the rings are already beginning to catch the first whispers of approaching sunlight. Even though the sun hasn't yet appeared over the horizon, the highest particles in the rings, those that orbit farthest from Earth, begin to sparkle with the faintest suggestion of illumination. It's as if someone has scattered crushed diamonds across black velvet. Each tiny point of light too subtle to be noticed individually, but together creating a gossamer band that seems to pulse gently with its own inner rhythm. You lie there in the pre-dawn quiet, watching as this celestial preview unfolds. The room around you is still dark, but the growing light from the rings begins to cast the faintest patterns on your ceiling, delicate shadows that shift and dance as the Earth slowly rotates beneath its cosmic crown. These aren't harsh shadows, but soft suggestions of darkness and light, like the patterns you might see if you looked up through leaves at a dappled sky. Except these patterns are created by particles of ice and rock floating in space hundreds of miles above your head. As minutes pass in perfect tranquility, more and more of the rings begin to catch the approaching sunlight. The process happens gradually, like watching a very slow tide come in, each moment bringing a subtle increase in brightness, each second adding new details to the celestial display. The rings don't suddenly burst into brilliance, but rather wake up gently, like a person stretching and yawning after a peaceful night's sleep. The first colors to appear are the softest possible, barely distinguishable from white. Pearl and silver, the palest gold and the faintest rose, colors so delicate they seem more like suggestions than actual hues. The ice particles in the rings are particularly good at catching and reflecting this early light, and they begin to glow with an inner radiance that seems almost alive, as if each tiny fragment of ancient Luna's sister has retained some memory of what it feels like to be illuminated by starlight. As you watch from your comfortable bed, you notice that the light from the rings is beginning to fill your room with the gentlest possible illumination. It's not bright enough to make you squint or feel the need to close your eyes, but sufficient to reveal the outlines of furniture, the texture of walls, the peaceful landscape visible through your windows. This ring light has a quality unlike any other illumination you've ever experienced. It's softer than moonlight, warmer than starlight, and more diffuse than even the most carefully designed electric bulb. The beauty of ring dawn is that it happens slowly enough for you to notice every stage, every subtle shift in color and brightness. There's no moment when you suddenly realize the sun has risen, no abrupt transition from dark to light. Instead, the world brightens so gradually that you could watch for an hour and never feel impatient, never wish the process would hurry along. Time seems to slow down during ring dawn, matching the patient pace of the celestial display overhead. Now, as the sun begins to approach the actual horizon, something truly magical starts to happen. The rings begin to break the sunlight into component parts, acting like a massive, ethereal prism that stretches across the entire sky. The light that reaches you has been filtered and softened by countless tiny particles, each one contributing its own small modification to the sun's rays. The result is illumination that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere, as if the sky itself has learned how to glow. Different sections of the rings begin to display different colors as the sun's angle changes. The denser portions, where rocky particles predominate, take on warm amber and honey tones, while the icier sections sparkle with blues and whites that seem to contain their own internal light source. Some gaps between ring segments allow unfiltered sunlight to pass through, creating gentle beams that sweep across the landscape below like the arms of a cosmic lighthouse, but moving so slowly that you can watch your shadow shift position over the course of several minutes. The air in your room begins to fill with these colored beams, and you realize that you're breathing light itself, that the rings have transformed the simple act of sunrise into something that engages all your senses. The light has weight and texture, warmth and coolness existing simultaneously, creating an atmosphere that seems to embrace you rather than simply illuminate you. This is light designed for peace, for contemplation, for the kind of gentle awakening that sets the tone for an entire day of tranquility. As the sun climbs higher, the rings begin to cast more defined shadows on the earth below. But these aren't the harsh, sharp-edged shadows you might expect. Instead, they're soft bands of slightly deeper color that sweep across the landscape in gentle waves. From your window, you can see these ring shadows moving across distant hills like slow, silent music made visible, creating patterns that remind you of the way wind moves across a field of grain, or the way gentle waves lap against a peaceful shore. The ring shadows are never completely dark because the particles in the rings are translucent rather than opaque. Even in the deepest shadow cast by the densest part of the rings, there's still a soft, diffused light that filters through, ensuring that no part of the earth ever experiences true darkness during daylight hours. Plants growing in these shadow bands have adapted to this gentler light, developing leaves that are deeper green and more reflective, creating gardens that seem to glow with their own inner radiance even when shaded by the rings. You notice that your own bedroom window catches different qualities of ring light as the morning progresses. Sometimes direct sunlight streams through the gaps between ring segments, warming your face with familiar solar heat. Other times, the light is filtered through ice particles, arriving cool and blue and refreshing, like a gentle breeze made from photons. And sometimes the light passes through the rocky portions of the rings, taking on earth tones that seem to connect you directly to the ancient moon that gave birth to this daily spectacle. The progression from dawn to full morning happens over the course of nearly 2 hours in this ringed world, twice as long as a sunrise on our familiar Earth. This extended dawn has influenced the rhythm of daily life in the most beautiful ways. People wake up more gradually, taking time to watch the ring light patterns shift and change. Morning routines are slower, more contemplative, as everyone takes advantage of this daily reminder that beautiful things are worth taking time to appreciate. In this world, children learn to tell time not just by looking at clocks, but by observing which parts of the rings are catching the light and how the shadows are falling across their gardens. The rings serve as a natural sundial that's visible from every point on Earth, creating a shared timepiece that connects all of humanity to the same celestial rhythm. Morning appointments are often scheduled not for specific clock times, but for particular moments in the ring light cycle, creating a culture that values natural rhythm over mechanical precision. As you lie in your bed, watching this morning transformation, you can feel your body naturally synchronizing with the gentle pace of the ring dawn. Your breathing slows to match the patient rotation of the celestial bands overhead. Your heartbeat seems to find harmony with the slow sweep of shadows across your walls. Even your thoughts begin to move more slowly, becoming less focused on the urgent concerns of daily life and more attuned to the profound peace that comes from being part of something larger and more enduring than individual human concerns. The light from the rings seems to penetrate not just your room, but your very being, filling you with a sense of calm that goes deeper than simple relaxation. This is the kind of peace that comes from witnessing something truly beautiful, something that reminds you that the universe is not only vast and mysterious, but also gentle and caring, capable of creating displays of beauty for no reason other than the joy of being beautiful. As the morning progresses toward what people in this world call ring noon, when the sun reaches its highest point and the rings display their full spectrum of colors, you realize that you've been watching this daily miracle for over an hour without feeling even a moment of boredom or impatience. The rings have taught you something about time itself, about the way that beautiful experiences exist outside the normal flow of minutes and hours, creating their own temporal space where rushing is impossible and peace is inevitable. The quality of light at ring noon is unlike anything you've ever experienced. It's bright enough to illuminate everything clearly, but never harsh or glaring. The rings act as a natural filter, ensuring that the light reaching Earth's surface is always optimal for comfort and visibility. Colors appear more saturated under ring light, but in a gentle way that enhances beauty without creating the kind of intensity that might strain your eyes or overwhelm your senses. In this perfect light, every surface seems to glow with its own inner beauty. The leaves on trees outside your window look like they're made of green glass lit from within. Water surfaces reflect not just the sun, but the entire ring system, creating the impression that the sky has fallen into every pond, every lake, every cup of morning tea. Even ordinary objects in your room seem transformed, as if the ring light has the power to reveal the hidden beauty in everything it touches. As you continue to rest and watch, you notice that the rings are creating what scientists might call multiple lighting conditions throughout your room simultaneously. One corner might be illuminated by direct sunlight streaming through a gap in the rings, while another area receives the cool, blue light filtered through ice particles, and still another spot glows with the warm, amber light that has passed through the rockier sections of the rings. Your room has become a gentle light show, with different areas taking on different moods and colors throughout the morning. This varied lighting has influenced the way people in this world designed their living spaces. Rooms are arranged so that different activities can take advantage of different types of ring light. The area near the window where you're lying might be perfect for quiet contemplation during the blue light phases, while a corner that receives amber ring light might be ideal for reading or detailed work. People have learned to move through their homes following the light, like flowers turning to track the sun, but in slow motion and with conscious appreciation for each type of illumination. The rings also create what might be called light weather, patterns of illumination that change throughout the day and season, but in predictable cycles that people have learned to read and anticipate. Some days the rings might create more blue light, perfect for activities that require calm focus. Other days might bring more golden light, ideal for creative work or social gatherings. And sometimes, during the most beautiful ring days, all colors appear in perfect balance, creating illumination that seems designed specifically for peace and contentment. As your morning under the rings continues, you find yourself entering a state of deep relaxation that combines the best aspects of meditation, sunbathing, and sky watching. The gentle rhythm of changing light and shadow has synchronized your entire being with the cosmic dance overhead, creating a sense of harmony that extends from your physical body through your thoughts and emotions and out into your connection with the universe itself. This is morning as it was meant to be experienced, not as a rushed transition from sleep to activity, but as a gentle awakening that honors both the beauty of the world and the peace of your own inner nature. Rien Tenerclaude Poeta, Commodore Errors. Verifique las Respuestas. Chapter 4. Navigating by Celestial Bands. As the gentle morning light settles into its comfortable rhythm, allow your mind to drift back through the generations to a time when humans first looked up at the ringed sky and began to understand that these celestial bands could serve as more than just beautiful decoration for the heavens. Picture yourself as one of the early inhabitants of this ringed earth, someone whose ancestors had watched the sky for countless generations, slowly learning to read the language written across the cosmos in bands of light and shadow. In this peaceful world, long before the invention of compasses or GPS systems, before maps were drawn on paper or paths were marked with signs, people navigated by the rings. Imagine yourself standing on a gentle hillside at twilight, perhaps 1,000 years ago, when the accumulated wisdom of sky watching had been passed down through generations of patient observers, each one adding their own understanding to humanity's growing knowledge of the celestial guides overhead. The rings, you see, don't simply hang motionless in the sky like a painted backdrop. They rotate slowly with the Earth, but their position relative to the ground changes in predictable patterns throughout both the day and the year. To the trained eye, someone who has spent years learning to read the subtle language of the rings, they serve as a compass, calendar, and clock all combined into one magnificent celestial instrument. As you stand on your hillside, breathing in the cool evening air scented with wild herbs and distant wood smoke, you look up to see the rings stretching from horizon to horizon like a bridge of stars. But now you're seeing them with the eyes of someone who understands their deeper significance. The brightest section of the rings, where the ice particles catch and reflect the most light, always points toward what people in this world call the ring north, a direction that shifts slightly from our familiar magnetic north, but remains constant enough to serve as a reliable reference point for travelers. The early ring navigators discovered that different segments of the rings had their own personalities, their own distinctive combinations of brightness, color, and texture that made them as recognizable as landmarks on the ground. There was this silver stream, a particularly bright band of ice particles that appeared to flow like liquid mercury across the night sky. There was the amber bridge, a section rich in rocky particles that glowed with warm, golden light during sunrise and sunset. And there was the shadow gate, a wide gap between ring segments where the stars shone through most clearly, serving as a cosmic window that helped navigators identify specific constellations. Learning to navigate by the rings required a different kind of thinking than the rushed, goal-oriented navigation we might be familiar with. It was a practice that demanded patience, observation, and deep attunement to natural rhythms. Young people who wanted to become ring navigators would spend years simply sitting and watching the sky, learning to recognize the subtle changes in the ring's appearance that corresponded to different times of day, different seasons, and different weather patterns. Picture yourself as one of these apprentice navigators, spending your evenings on that peaceful hillside, learning to read the cosmic map overhead. Your teacher, an elderly woman whose eyes hold the accumulated wisdom of decades of sky watching, sits beside you on a comfortable blanket, pointing out the features of the rings with the same loving detail that a grandmother might use to describe the faces of family members in old photographs. See how the silver stream catches the light just there, she might say, her voice soft and unhurried, matching the pace of the celestial display overhead. When it shines brightest at this angle, we know that tomorrow's dawn will bring the kind of clear, calm weather perfect for gathering herbs in the high meadows. But watch how it dims slightly near the horizon. That tells us that rain may come in 3 days' time, gentle spring rain that will make the wildflowers bloom. The rings served not just as navigational tools, but as weather predictors, their appearance changing subtly in response to atmospheric conditions that were still days away. The ice particles were particularly sensitive to changes in air pressure and humidity, their brightness and color shifting in ways that experienced ring readers could interpret with remarkable accuracy. A slight blue tinge in the normally silver sections might indicate approaching cold weather, while a warm golden glow could herald several days of perfect sunshine. As the seasons changed, so did the ring's position in the sky, creating what ring navigators called the Great Wheel of the Year. During spring, certain segments of the rings would be prominently visible during the evening hours, helping travelers know when to plant their crops or begin long journeys. Summer brought a different configuration, with the ring's brightest sections appearing at midday, providing both guidance and gentle shade for those working in the fields below. The autumn rings were perhaps the most beautiful of all, when the changing angle of sunlight caused the entire ring system to take on deeper, richer colors that seemed to mirror the changing leaves on the trees below. During this season, the rings served as a calendar for harvest time, their shifting patterns telling farmers exactly when different crops would be ready for gathering. And winter brought its own ring wisdom, when the ice particles glowed with cold, clear light that seemed to promise the return of spring even during the darkest months of the year. Learning to read the rings required not just intellectual understanding, but a kind of intuitive connection to the natural world that developed slowly over years of patient observation. Ring navigators learned to feel the sky's moods in their bodies, to sense changes in the ring's appearance even before their eyes could detect them. They developed what people called ring sense, an almost mystical ability to know their location and the time of day simply by glancing at the celestial bands overhead. Imagine yourself developing this ring sense as you continue your studies on the hillside. Night after night, you return to your watching post, learning to recognize not just the major features of the rings, but their subtle variations and changes. You begin to notice that certain stars appear to dance as they move behind different sections of the rings, their light refracted and colored by the particles they pass through. You learn that these stellar dances follow predictable patterns that can tell you not just where you are, but where you're going and how long it will take to get there. The most skilled ring navigators could determine their location to within a few miles simply by observing how the rings aligned with features on the horizon. They understood that the ring's apparent position changed depending on where you stood on Earth's surface, and they could use this parallax effect to triangulate their position with remarkable precision. A mountain peak that appeared to touch a certain section of the rings, when viewed from one location, would align differently when seen from somewhere else, and experienced navigators could use these alignments like a cosmic surveying system. But ring navigation was about more than just finding your way from one place to another. It was a practice that connected people to the larger rhythms of the cosmos, that reminded them daily of their place in the grand dance of celestial bodies. Ring navigators often became the philosophers and poets of their communities, people whose deep understanding of the sky gave them insights into the deeper patterns that govern all existence. As you lie on your hillside, learning to read the rings, you begin to understand why this practice was considered not just a practical skill, but a form of meditation, a way of harmonizing your inner rhythms with the cosmic rhythms overhead. The rings teach patience. You cannot rush the sky or force it to reveal its secrets quickly. They teach humility. The vast scale of the ring system reminds you that human concerns, while important, are just one small part of a much larger story. And they teach wonder. Night after night of watching the rings fills you with an appreciation for beauty that enriches every aspect of your life. The ring navigators developed their own calendar system based on the rings' changing appearance throughout the year. They identified 13 ring months, each corresponding to a different configuration of the celestial bands, each bringing its own weather patterns, seasonal activities, and spiritual significance. The names of these months were often poetic, reflecting the deep connection between the people and their ringed sky: silver rise, amber dancing, shadow deep, ice singing, and others that captured both the practical and mystical aspects of ring time. During certain times of the year, the rings would create spectacular alignments with the sun and moon that ring navigators called celestial convergences. These were times when the normally gentle rings would blaze with extraordinary brightness, casting shadows so defined that they could be used for precise timekeeping and direction finding. Communities would often plan their most important festivals and ceremonies around these convergences, turning practical navigation into spiritual celebration. The most sacred of these convergences was called the ring eclipse, a rare event that occurred when the Earth's shadow fell across a section of the rings during a lunar eclipse. During these times, the affected section of the rings would appear to glow with a deep, mysterious radiance that seemed to come from within the particles themselves. Ring navigators believed that people who learned their sky reading during a ring eclipse would be blessed with exceptional navigational abilities and deep wisdom about the natural world. Children in this ringed world grew up playing games based on ring navigation, learning the basics of sky reading as naturally as children in our world might learn to ride bicycles or swim. They would lie on their backs in meadows, pointing out ring features to each other, making up stories about the cosmic bridge overhead, and gradually absorbing the knowledge that would serve them throughout their lives. By the time they reached adulthood, most people could perform basic ring navigation instinctively, finding their way home even on the darkest nights by following the gentle glow of the celestial bands. The tools used by ring navigators were elegantly simple, reflecting the culture's deep appreciation for natural harmony over mechanical complexity. They might carry a ring staff, a carefully carved piece of wood with notches that help them measure angles between the rings and the horizon. Or they might use a shadow bowl, a shallow dish filled with water that reflected the ring's image and made it easier to observe their subtle changes in brightness and color. But the most important tool of any ring navigator was their own trained perception, their ability to see patterns and changes that would be invisible to the untrained eye. This perception was developed through years of patient practice, of sitting quietly under the ringed sky and learning to see with both the eyes and the heart, to understand that true navigation requires not just knowing where you are, but knowing who you are and why you're traveling in the first place. As your imagined training as a ring navigator continues, you begin to realize that this practice has changed you in fundamental ways. Your sense of time has slowed to match the patient pace of the ring's rotation. Your awareness has expanded to include not just your immediate surroundings, but the vast cosmic context in which all earthly activities take place. And your appreciation for beauty has deepened, as night after night of watching the rings has taught you to find wonder in subtle changes and gentle rhythms that you might have overlooked before. The ring navigators understood that their practice was about more than practical wayfinding. It was about finding your way through life itself, using the wisdom of the cosmos to guide not just your physical journeys, but your spiritual and emotional travels as well. They often serve as counselors and guides for their communities, helping people navigate not just physical landscapes, but the complex terrain of human relationships, life decisions, and spiritual growth. As you rest on your hillside, feeling the gentle night breeze carry the scent of blooming flowers and distant rain, you realize that you too are learning this deeper form of navigation. The rings overhead are teaching you to find your way not just through space, but through time and consciousness, guiding you toward the peaceful destination of restful sleep and rejuvenating dreams. The celestial bands that once guided ancient travelers across unknown landscapes are now guiding you across the equally mysterious terrain that lies between waking and sleeping, between the concerns of the day and the peace of the night. The rings continue their ancient rotation overhead, patient as mountains, constant as the tide, beautiful as anything you could ever imagine. And as you watch them, you feel yourself becoming part of their eternal dance, part of the cosmic navigation system that connects all things in the universe, from the smallest grain of ring dust to the largest patterns of stellar motion, all of them moving together in the endless, peaceful journey toward home. Chapter 5: Tides of Light and Shadow. As you settle deeper into your peaceful contemplation beneath the ringed sky, allow your awareness to expand and embrace one of the most mesmerizing aspects of life on this celestial crowned earth. Picture yourself now in a world where the dance of light and shadow follows rhythms more complex and beautiful than anything we know, where the simple passage of the sun across the sky becomes a daily symphony of illumination that changes not just the brightness of the world, but its very texture and mood. Imagine yourself lying in a sun-dappled meadow on a perfect afternoon, but instead of the familiar pattern of sunlight filtering through leaves, you're experiencing something far more enchanting. The rings overhead create an ever-shifting tapestry of light and shadow that moves across the landscape like gentle waves, transforming every surface it touches into a canvas for cosmic art. These aren't the harsh, fixed shadows you might expect from solid objects, but flowing bands of softer light that pulse and breathe with the rotation of the earth beneath its celestial crown. The shadow patterns created by the rings move with the stately grace of a slow dance, taking several hours to traverse the landscape completely. As you watch from your comfortable position in the meadow, you can observe these bands of deeper illumination flowing across distant hills like visible music, creating rhythms that speak to something deep in your soul. The shadows aren't completely dark, but rather regions where the light has been gently filtered and diffused by the ring particles, creating areas of cooler, bluer illumination that provide natural air conditioning for the world below. In this ringed world, people have learned to live in harmony with these tides of light and shadow, planning their daily activities around the natural rhythms created by the celestial bands overhead. Farmers plant their crops in patterns that take advantage of the regular shadow cycles, knowing that certain plants thrive in the cooler ring shadow, while others prefer the direct sunlight that streams through the gaps between ring segments. Gardens have been designed as living sundials, with different flowers blooming at different times as the shadow patterns move across them throughout the day. Picture yourself rising from your meadow and walking through one of these ring shadow gardens, observing how the landscape has been shaped by generations of people who understood the gentle power of cosmic illumination. The paths wind in gentle curves that follow the natural flow of the shadow patterns, creating walkways that are always perfectly lit for comfortable travel. Trees have been planted in locations where they'll receive optimal light throughout the day, their leaves positioned to catch both direct sunlight and the softer glow filtered through ring particles. As you walk along these peaceful paths, you notice that different areas of the garden have distinctly different moods, depending on the type of light they're currently receiving. Areas bathed in direct sunlight feel warm and energizing, perfect for active games or vigorous work. Regions under ring shadow feel cool and contemplative, ideal for reading, meditation, or quiet conversation. In the zones where filtered ring light creates a gentle, diffused glow seem designed for artistic creation, for activities that require both clarity of vision and peace of mind. The movement of ring shadows across the landscape creates natural time markers that are far more beautiful and meaningful than any mechanical clock. Children learn to recognize the approach of meal times by watching which flowers are currently in shadow, which trees are catching the filtered light, which sections of their playground are entering the cooler zones that make running and playing most comfortable. Adults schedule their work and social activities around these natural rhythms, creating a culture that values harmony with cosmic cycles over rigid adherence to arbitrary time divisions. Imagine yourself sitting beneath a tree whose leaves have evolved specifically to thrive under ring light. Their surface is slightly more reflective than the leaves we know, designed to capture and amplify the gentle illumination that filters through the celestial bands above. As the ring shadows move across the tree throughout the day, its leaves seem to glow with their own inner light, creating a natural lamp that provides just enough illumination for comfortable reading or peaceful contemplation. The quality of light in the ring shadows is unlike anything you've experienced before. It's not the absence of light, but rather light that has been transformed, refined, and gentled by its passage through countless tiny particles of ice and rock. This filtered illumination has a therapeutic quality that seems to calm the nervous system and ease tension from both body and mind. Scientists in this world have discovered that ring shadow light contains specific wavelengths that promote relaxation and enhance the production of natural mood-stabilizing chemicals in the brain. As afternoon gradually transitions toward evening, the ring shadows begin to take on different qualities, their edges becoming softer and their colors more varied as the sun's angle changes. Some shadows develop hints of blue and violet, while others glow with warm amber, tones that seem to emanate from within the particles themselves. The landscape becomes a living canvas painted with these subtle hues, creating scenes of such beauty that artists often spend entire careers trying to capture the ephemeral magic of ring shadow light. You notice that water features in this world have been designed specifically to interact with the moving patterns of ring light and shadow. Fountains are positioned so that their spray catches and scatters the filtered light, creating momentary rainbows that appear and disappear as the shadow patterns shift. Ponds and streams are oriented to reflect different sections of the rings throughout the day, their surfaces becoming mirrors that double the sky's beauty and create the illusion that you're walking through a world suspended between two celestial realms. The ring shadows also create microclimates that have influenced the evolution of life in fascinating ways. Plants that grow primarily in shadow zones have developed leaves that are deeper green and more efficient at photosynthesis under low-light conditions. Animals have adapted their behavior patterns to take advantage of the cooling effect of ring shadows during the hottest parts of the day, creating migration patterns that follow the shadow bands across the landscape. Birds in this world often use the ring shadows as highways for migration, riding the thermal currents created by the temperature differences between shadowed and sunlit areas. Watching these aerial processions is like observing a perfectly choreographed dance, as flocks of birds spiral upward on the warm air rising from sun-bright meadows, then glide peacefully through the cooler zones under ring shadow, their flight patterns creating temporary living sculptures against the cosmic backdrop. As you continue your exploration of this shadow-dappled world, you discover that different times of day bring entirely different experiences of ring light. Morning shadows are crisp and energizing, with clear boundaries between light and shade that create dramatic contrasts perfect for awakening both body and spirit. Midday shadows are softer and more diffused, providing gentle relief from the intensity of direct sunlight without creating the deep darkness that might feel oppressive. But it's the evening shadows that are perhaps the most magical of all. As the sun begins to set, the ring shadows become longer and more complex, stretching across the landscape like fingers of twilight that arrive hours before actual darkness. These extended shadows create zones of premature evening that serve as natural gathering places for communities, areas where people instinctively congregate as the day winds down, drawn by the peaceful atmosphere created by the softened light. Imagine yourself joining one of these evening gatherings, sitting in a circle with others on comfortable cushions placed in a meadow where ring shadows have created a natural amphitheater of gentle illumination. The conversation flows as peacefully as the light itself, unhurried and contemplative, as people share stories, discuss the events of the day, or simply sit in comfortable silence, watching the slow progression of shadows across the surrounding landscape. The psychology of living under constantly shifting patterns of light and shadow has created a culture that is remarkably adaptable and patient. People in this world have learned to embrace change as a natural part of existence, understanding that just as the ring shadows are always moving, always creating new patterns of beauty, so too must human life flow and adapt to changing circumstances. The constant, gentle variation in lighting conditions has taught entire civilizations to find peace in impermanence, to appreciate beauty that is always temporary and always being renewed. Children growing up under these shifting light patterns develop enhanced spatial awareness and a keen sensitivity to subtle environmental changes. They learn to read the landscape like a book, understanding how the movement of shadows affects everything from the behavior of animals to the growth patterns of plants. This environmental literacy creates adults who are deeply connected to the natural world and highly skilled at living in harmony with natural rhythms rather than fighting against them. The ring shadows also influence the architecture of this world in profound ways. Buildings are designed with multiple windows and skylights positioned to take advantage of different types of ring light throughout the day. Rooms have been planned so that morning activities can take place in areas that receive energizing direct sunlight, while afternoon rest periods happen in spaces designed to catch the peaceful glow of ring-filtered light. Evening gathering areas are positioned to make the most of the long, gentle shadows that herald the approach of night. Many buildings incorporate what architects call shadow wells, courtyards or atriums designed specifically to capture and display the movement of ring shadows throughout the day. These spaces serve as living calendars and clocks, their walls marked with subtle indicators that show what time of day it is based on where the shadows fall. But more than mere timepieces, these shadow wells become meditation spaces, areas where people can sit and watch the slow dance of light and darkness that connects them to the cosmic rhythms governing all existence. As you experience these tides of light and shadow flowing around you, you begin to understand how they're affecting your own inner state. The gentle, rhythmic changes in illumination seem to synchronize with your breathing, your heartbeat, even your thoughts, creating a sense of harmony between your internal rhythms and the cosmic patterns overhead. This synchronization brings a deep feeling of peace, a sense of being perfectly aligned with the natural order of things. The constant, subtle movement of ring shadows also serves as a form of natural meditation, providing a focus for contemplation that is both soothing and infinitely complex. You could spend hours watching the shadows flow across a single tree or rock formation, observing how the changing light reveals new details, new patterns, new aspects of beauty that were invisible just moments before. This practice of shadow watching has become a form of moving meditation practice throughout this ringed world. As the evening deepens and the ring shadows begin to merge with the natural shadows of approaching twilight, you find yourself in a state of profound relaxation. The day's gentle progression of shifting light and shadow has served as a natural stress reduction therapy, each change in illumination helping to release tension and promote deeper levels of calm. Your body feels loose and comfortable, your mind clear and peaceful, your spirit aligned with the vast, patient rhythms of the cosmos. The rings overhead continue their eternal rotation, creating new patterns of light and shadow with each passing moment, yet maintaining the same fundamental harmony that has characterized their dance for millions of years. As you rest in this shadow-dappled meadow, you realize that you too are part of this cosmic choreography, that your own presence adds another element to the complex interplay of light and shadow that makes this world so beautiful and peaceful. The tides of light and shadow flow around you like gentle waves on a cosmic shore, each one bringing new beauty, new peace, new reasons to feel grateful for the magnificent accident of existence that placed you here in this moment, under this ringed sky, surrounded by patterns of illumination that seem designed specifically to remind you that the universe is not only vast and mysterious, but also gentle and caring, always creating new forms of beauty for those patient enough to notice and appreciate them. Chapter 6: Seasons Under the Silver Arc. As the gentle evening settles around you like a comfortable blanket, allow your mind to drift through the passage of time, experiencing how the rings transform not just the daily rhythm of light and shadow, but the very essence of the seasons themselves. Picture yourself as someone who has lived an entire lifetime under this ringed sky, watching as the cosmic crown overhead changes its appearance and behavior in harmony with Earth's journey around the sun, creating seasonal experiences far more nuanced and beautiful than anything we might imagine. In this ringed world, the changing seasons are not marked merely by shifts in temperature or the familiar progression of plant growth and dormancy. Instead, they unfold as a year-long symphony of celestial transformation, where the rings themselves become active participants in the seasonal dance, their appearance, behavior, and interaction with sunlight, creating a calendar written across the sky in letters of light and shadow. Imagine yourself in early spring, standing in a meadow where the first wildflowers are beginning to emerge from the warming earth. Above you, the rings display their own version of spring awakening, their ice particles catching the increasingly direct sunlight with renewed brilliance after the dimmer days of winter. As Earth's axis tilts toward the sun, the angle at which sunlight strikes the rings begins to change, creating new patterns of reflection and refraction that seem to celebrate the planet's emergence from winter's embrace. The spring rings have a quality of light that seems almost liquid, flowing and changing with a vitality that mirrors the resurgent life force stirring in the natural world below. Ice particles that appeared static and crystalline during winter now seem to dance with newfound energy, their reflections creating patterns that shift and swirl like aurora made solid. This spring ring light has a greenish tinge that seems to encourage plant growth. And indeed, botanists in this world have discovered that crops planted under the influence of spring ring light tend to be more vigorous and productive than those grown at other times of year. As you walk through this spring landscape, you notice that the ring shadows are different too, softer and more diffuse than they were during winter, creating microclimates that provide perfect conditions for delicate spring flowers. The shadows move more quickly now as Earth's rotation combines with the changing solar angle to create an accelerated dance of light and shade across the awakening landscape. Children born in spring often grow up to be particularly sensitive to these subtle changes in light quality, developing an almost mystical ability to predict weather changes by observing tiny variations in the ring's appearance. The transition from spring to summer happens gradually over several weeks, marked by subtle but unmistakable changes in the ring's behavior. As the days grow longer and the sun climbs higher in the sky, the rings begin to display what people in this world call thermal shimmer, a gentle wavering effect caused by temperature differences in the orbital plane where the ring particles circle Earth. This shimmer creates an ever-changing light show that seems to pulse with the planet's own heartbeat, a visual reminder that even the vast cosmos responds to the rhythmic cycles that govern all existence. Summer rings are perhaps the most spectacular of all, blazing with an intensity that somehow never becomes overwhelming or uncomfortable. The ice particles, heated by the more direct sunlight, begin to outgas slightly, creating temporary clouds of water vapor that catch and scatter light in extraordinary ways. These vapor trails create what look like gossamer scarves draped between the main ring segments, ephemeral decorations that appear and disappear over the course of hours, each one unique and unrepeatable. Picture yourself lying in a summer meadow during the height of this season, when the rings overhead seem to pulse with their own internal fire. The quality of summer ring light is unlike anything experienced at other times of year. It's bright and energizing, yet somehow still gentle and soothing. This is light that seems designed for growth, for abundance, for the kind of expansive joy that comes from being fully alive in a world of unlimited possibility. The summer ring shadows provide essential relief during the warmest parts of the day, creating natural cooling zones that make even the hottest weather pleasant and comfortable. These shadows move more slowly in summer, as the sun's high angle creates broader, more stable zones of filtered light that remain in place for hours at a time. Communities have learned to schedule their summer activities around these predictable shadow patterns, gathering for festivals and celebrations in areas they know will be comfortably shaded during the peak heat of the day. During summer nights, the rings create their own form of gentle illumination that eliminates the deep darkness usually associated with warm weather evenings. The ring light is sufficient for comfortable outdoor activities well into the night, allowing for summer traditions that simply wouldn't be possible on an unringed world. Evening gardens remain visible and accessible. Night-blooming flowers can be appreciated in their full glory, and the social life of communities extends naturally into the comfortable hours after sunset. As summer gradually yields to autumn, the rings begin their own seasonal transformation, one that seems to echo the changing colors of the leaves below. The angle of sunlight striking the ring particles creates new optical effects, causing sections of the rings to take on warm amber and golden hues that seem to flow like honey across the sky. This autumn ring light has a quality that seems to enhance contemplation and reflection, making it the perfect illumination for the season's traditional activities of harvest and preparation for winter. Imagine yourself during the peak of autumn, standing in an orchard where the trees are heavy with ripe fruit and the leaves are beginning their spectacular color change. Above you, the rings seem to mirror this transformation, their normal silver and white brilliance now shot through with threads of gold, amber, and deep orange that pulse and flow with the rhythm of falling leaves. This is perhaps the most emotionally affecting of all the seasonal ring displays, creating an atmosphere of such beauty that it often moves observers to tears of joy and gratitude. The autumn rings create what might be called harvest light, illumination that seems specifically designed to make the work of gathering crops and preparing for winter feel less like labor and more like participation in a cosmic celebration. This light enhances the colors of autumn fruits and vegetables, making them appear almost luminous with ripeness and nutrition. Markets and harvest festivals held under autumn ring light become experiences of almost mystical beauty, where the simple act of buying apples or squash feels like participating in an ancient ritual, connecting humanity to the generous abundance of the natural world. As autumn progresses toward winter, the rings begin to display what people call the crystalline phase, when the cooling temperatures cause the ice particles to form more regular, geometric structures that create prismatic effects of extraordinary beauty. Sunlight passing through these naturally formed crystals breaks into spectacular displays of color that sweep across the sky like slow-motion rainbows, each one lasting for hours and painting the entire world in shifting hues of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. Winter rings are perhaps the most mysterious and beautiful of all, creating effects that seem to belong more to the realm of dreams than to physical reality. The ice particles, now frozen into perfect crystalline formations, act like a vast array of cosmic prisms, breaking sunlight into its component colors and painting the winter landscape with hues that change throughout the day. Snow falling under winter ring light takes on almost magical quality, each flake seeming to capture and hold tiny fragments of rainbow light. Picture yourself on a clear winter evening, standing in a snow-covered meadow under the winter rings. The scene around you looks like something from a fairy tale, with the ring light creating patterns of colored illumination across the pristine snow that shift and change like aurora made solid. The winter rings move more slowly than at other times of year, their dance matching the contemplative pace of the season, creating long periods of stable, jewel-toned light that invite extended meditation and reflection. The winter ring shadows are unlike those of any other season, creating zones of deep blue and violet illumination that seem to glow with their own inner light. These colored shadows provide a strange but comfortable warmth, as if the ring light itself carries some essential quality that makes even the coldest days feel pleasant and inviting. Animals seem to understand this warming quality of winter ring light, often gathering in areas where the colored shadows fall, basking in illumination that provides not just visual beauty, but actual physical comfort. Throughout the winter months, the rings create what meteorologists call thermal inversions, where the cosmic light seems to warm the air it passes through, creating microclimates that allow certain plants to remain green and growing even under snow. These winter gardens, illuminated by colored ring light and thriving in the middle of what should be the dormant season, become gathering places for communities celebrating the persistence of life even during the year's most challenging months. The transition back to spring happens gradually, marked by subtle changes in the ring's crystalline structure as the ice particles begin to soften and reshape themselves in response to the increasing solar energy. The prismatic effects of winter slowly give way to the flowing, liquid light of spring, creating a transition period of several weeks when the rings display characteristics of both seasons simultaneously. This period, known as ring spring, is considered one of the most beautiful times of the entire year. Living through these seasonal transformations year after year creates a deep appreciation for the cyclical nature of existence, for the way that endings always contain the seeds of new beginnings, and for the profound beauty that emerges from the natural rhythm of change. People in this ringed world develop what might be called seasonal wisdom, an understanding that each phase of the yearly cycle has its own gifts, its own lessons, its own particular form of beauty that can't be experienced at any other time. Children growing up under seasonally changing rings develop a natural understanding of impermanence that helps them navigate life's transitions with grace and acceptance. They learn early that change is not something to fear or resist, but rather something to appreciate and celebrate, understanding that the beauty of each season is enhanced by the knowledge that it will eventually give way to something different but equally wonderful. The seasonal changes in the rings also influence human creativity in profound ways. Artists learn to work with different types of ring light throughout the year, understanding that paintings created under spring ring light will have a different energy than those painted under autumn illumination. Musicians compose pieces that echo the rhythmic changes in ring behavior throughout the seasons, creating symphonies that seem to capture the very essence of seasonal transformation. As you experience these seasonal changes in your imagination, feeling the way each type of ring light affects your mood and energy in its own unique way, you begin to understand how living under this cosmic crown would fundamentally change your relationship with time itself. Rather than experiencing the year as a series of arbitrary calendar divisions, you would feel each season as a distinct phase in an ongoing cosmic dance, each one bringing its own gifts and requiring its own forms of attention and appreciation. The rings above continue their ancient dance, their appearance shifting subtly even as you watch, reminding you that change is the only constant in the universe, but also that change, when it follows natural rhythms and cosmic patterns, brings not chaos but beauty, not disruption, but a deeper form of harmony that connects all things in the endless cycle of seasonal transformation. As you rest beneath this ever-changing cosmic crown, you feel yourself becoming part of that same seasonal rhythm, your own being aligning with the patient cycles that govern all existence, finding peace in the knowledge that you too are part of something larger and more beautiful than you could ever imagine on your own. Chapter 7. the night sky's silver highway. As the last traces of evening light fade into the deep velvet of night, allow your consciousness to drift into the most magical time in this ringed world, when darkness reveals the true splendor of Earth's cosmic crown. Picture yourself lying on a comfortable blanket in an open meadow, far from any artificial lights, as the night sky transforms into something far more wondrous than anything we could experience on our familiar, unringed Earth. Above you, the darkness is not empty, but filled with a gentle, luminous highway that stretches from horizon to horizon, painted across the heavens in shades of silver, pearl, and the softest blue. The transition from day to night in this world happens gradually and beautifully, without the abrupt shift from light to darkness that marks sunset on our Earth. As the sun disappears below the horizon, the rings continue to catch and reflect its light for nearly an hour afterward, creating what people here call the long twilight, an extended period when the sky glows with ethereal radiance that seems to emanate from the cosmic bands themselves. This gentle transition gives both humans and animals time to adjust to the changing light conditions, creating a natural rhythm that promotes peaceful sleep and restful nights. During this twilight period, you can watch as different sections of the rings light up in sequence, like street lamps being turned on one by one along a cosmic boulevard. The ice particles, still catching the last rays of sunlight from their high orbital positions, begin to glow with their own inner radiance, creating patterns of light that flow and shift across the sky like aurora made solid. The rocky sections of the rings take longer to fade, their denser particles holding onto the day's warmth and releasing it slowly as a gentle, amber glow that provides just enough light for comfortable evening activities. As true night settles over the landscape, the rings reveal their most spectacular display. No longer competing with direct sunlight, they become a luminous bridge spanning the entire sky, bright enough to read by, yet soft enough never to disturb sleep or feel harsh to sensitive eyes. This ring light has a quality unlike any other illumination you've ever experienced. It's cool and soothing, with a slight blue tinge that seems to calm the nervous system and promote deep relaxation. Imagine yourself walking through this ring-lit landscape, observing how the cosmic illumination transforms the familiar world into something magical and dreamlike. Trees cast gentle shadows that seem to dance and sway even when there's no wind, their movement created by the slow rotation of the rings overhead. Water surfaces become mirrors that reflect not just the familiar moon, but the entire ring system, creating the illusion that you're walking through a world suspended between two skies, each one equally beautiful and mysterious. The stars, visible through the gaps between ring segments, seem brighter and more numerous than they would appear on an unringed world. The contrast between the gentle glow of the rings and the deep darkness of the gaps creates a natural frame that enhances stellar visibility, turning even modest telescopes into instruments capable of revealing cosmic wonders that would normally require much more sophisticated equipment. Astronomers in this world have developed their science more rapidly than their counterparts on unringed worlds, inspired by the constant reminder that Earth is part of a vast and beautiful cosmic community. The constellations tell different stories when viewed through the framework of the rings. Ancient mythologies speak of cosmic bridges and celestial highways, of gods and heroes who traveled the star roads that arch across the sky. The rings themselves have become part of these mythological narratives, seen as a bridge between earthly and divine realms, a pathway that souls might travel on their journey to whatever lies beyond the mortal world. As you continue your night walk under the ringed sky, you notice that the ring light creates its own weather patterns, generating gentle breezes as the cosmic illumination warms some areas more than others. These ring winds carry the sense of night-blooming flowers that have evolved specifically to take advantage of the extended growing season provided by the gentle light from above. The air seems softer and more pleasant at night in this world, filled with fragrances and touched by breezes that make even the warmest summer evenings comfortable and inviting. The night sounds in this ringed world are different too, enriched by the calls of nocturnal creatures that remain active throughout the night thanks to the gentle illumination provided by the cosmic bands. Night birds whose songs are rarely heard on our dark earth fill the air with melodies that seem designed to harmonize with the visual beauty of the ringed sky. Their music creates a natural symphony that provides the perfect soundtrack for evening contemplation and peaceful sleep. Children in this world grow up without fear of the dark, because true darkness never really arrives. The gentle ring light provides enough illumination to navigate safely, to see approaching friends or family members, to observe the beauty of the night world without feeling isolated or vulnerable. This freedom from darkness-related fears creates a culture that is more open to nighttime activities, more comfortable with the rhythms of both sleeping and waking that follow natural rather than artificial cycles. The rings also influence dreaming in ways that scientists in this world are only beginning to understand. The gentle, rhythmic pulsing of ring light seems to stimulate the parts of the brain associated with vivid, peaceful dreams. People report that their dreams under ring light are more colorful, more coherent, and more likely to be remembered upon waking. Many describe dreams of flying through cosmic landscapes, of traveling along bridges of light, of participating in dances that span the entire universe. As the night deepens, you find yourself drawn to lie back on your blanket and simply gaze upward at the magnificent display overhead. The rings seem to pulse gently with their own heartbeat, a rhythm so slow and peaceful that it begins to synchronize with your own breathing, your own pulse, your own gradual drift toward the borderlands of sleep. This is meditation made manifest, a visual focus for contemplation that connects you directly to the cosmic forces that govern all existence. Different sections of the rings tell their own stories throughout the night. The brightest band, composed primarily of ice particles from the ancient Luna's sister, flows like a river of liquid light across the sky, its brightness varying subtly as Earth's rotation changes the angle at which you observe it. The darker bands, rich in rocky material, provide contrast and definition, creating the visual rhythm that makes the entire display so hypnotically beautiful. The gaps between ring segments frame perfectly composed views of deep space, creating natural windows through which you can observe distant galaxies, nebulae, and star clusters with unusual clarity. These cosmic vistas, framed by the gentle glow of the rings, remind you constantly that Earth is part of a universe filled with wonders beyond imagination, that the beauty you're witnessing is just one small part of an infinite cosmic dance that connects all things across space and time. As you watch, you begin to notice the subtle ways that the rings interact with Earth's magnetic field, creating occasional displays of ring aurora where charged particles from the sun interact with the cosmic bands to create curtains of colored light that dance between the ring segments. These displays are rare and unpredictable, but when they occur, they transform the night sky into something so beautiful that people often travel great distances just for the chance to witness them. The ring aurora typically last for several hours, painting the sky with colors that seem to have no earthly equivalent. Greens that are deeper than emeralds, blues that are more profound than sapphires, reds that glow with the warmth of cosmic fire. During these displays, the rings themselves seem to come alive, pulsing and shimmering with energy that makes them appear less like solid objects and more like manifestations of pure light and color. The psychological effect of living under this perpetually beautiful night sky is profound and lasting. People in this world develop what psychologists call cosmic consciousness, a deep awareness of their connection to the larger universe that influences every aspect of their lives. They tend to be more philosophical, more patient, more willing to take the long view of both personal and social problems. The constant reminder that Earth is part of something vast and beautiful seems to put daily concerns into perspective, creating a culture that values wisdom over cleverness, beauty over mere functionality, harmony over competition. Night festivals in this world are spectacular beyond description. taking advantage of the natural illumination provided by the rings to create celebrations that continue from sunset to sunrise. Dancers move across fields lit by cosmic radiance, their movements creating shadows that interact with the ring light to produce ever-changing patterns of beauty. Musicians perform compositions that seem to echo the visual rhythms of the rings overhead, creating synesthetic experiences where sound and light merge into unified expressions of joy and wonder. The rings also serve as natural calendar markers throughout the night, their changing position allowing people to tell time with remarkable accuracy. Night workers, bakers, guards, healers attending to patients learn to read the cosmic chronometer overhead, using the ring's position relative to familiar landmarks to know exactly what time it is without consulting any artificial timepiece. This natural time-keeping creates a culture that is more attuned to cosmic rhythms and less dependent on mechanical precision. As the night progresses toward dawn, you notice that the rings begin to show subtle changes in preparation for the coming day. Ice particles start to glitter more brightly as they prepare to catch the first rays of sunrise, and the overall glow of the ring system begins to shift gradually from the cool blues and whites of night toward the warmer tones that will characterize the morning display. This transition happens so slowly and smoothly that it serves as a natural alarm clock, gently awakening those who need to rise early while allowing others to continue sleeping undisturbed. The pre-dawn hours are perhaps the most peaceful time of all in this ringed world, when the cosmic highway overhead glows with its softest radiance and the landscape below rests in perfect tranquility. This is the time when poets and philosophers do their best work, when lovers meet for the most romantic encounters, when spiritual seekers find the deepest connection to the divine mysteries that govern existence. The ring light during these hours seems to facilitate insight and inspiration, as if the cosmic illumination carries with it some essential quality that enhances human consciousness and creativity. Night-blooming gardens in this world are designed specifically to take advantage of the unique qualities of ring light, featuring flowers that open only under cosmic illumination and release fragrances that seem designed to harmonize with the visual beauty overhead. Walking through these gardens at night is like entering a living cathedral, where every sense is engaged in worship of the cosmic forces that make such beauty possible. The rings also create unique optical effects throughout the night, occasionally focusing starlight in ways that make distant stars appear to pulse and dance with unusual intensity. These stellar displays, caused by the gravitational lensing effect of the ring particles, create natural light shows that rival anything that human technology could produce. Watching these cosmic performances, you feel connected not just to Earth and its ring system, but to the entire galaxy, to the vast community of stars and planets that share this corner of the universe. As you rest beneath this magnificent night sky, feeling the gentle ring light wash over you like cosmic benediction, you begin to understand why people in this world have such deep faith in the underlying goodness of existence. The rings serve as a constant reminder that the universe is not only vast and mysterious, but also beautiful and caring, capable of creating displays of wonder that serve no purpose other than to bring joy and inspiration to those fortunate enough to witness them. The night continues its peaceful progression, the rings maintaining their ancient vigil overhead, patient guardians watching over a world that sleeps safely beneath their gentle radiance. And as you feel yourself drifting towards sleep under this cosmic crown, you carry with you the deep peace that comes from knowing you are part of something infinitely beautiful, infinitely mysterious, infinitely worthy of wonder and gratitude. Chapter 8: Ocean Reflections and Mountain Silhouettes. As you drift deeper into the peaceful embrace of this ringed night, allow your consciousness to travel across the varied landscapes of this cosmic crowned Earth, exploring how the celestial bands interact with the natural features of the world below to create scenes of beauty so profound they seem to exist beyond the normal boundaries of earthly experience. Picture yourself now standing on a gentle cliff overlooking a vast ocean, where the water stretches endlessly toward the horizon. its surface serving as a perfect mirror that doubles the magnificence of the ringed sky above. The ocean beneath the rings is unlike any body of water you've ever imagined. By day, it captures and reflects the shifting patterns of ring light and shadow, creating a surface that seems to breathe with cosmic rhythms. But it's at night, under the gentle illumination of the cosmic bands, that the ocean reveals its true magic. The ring light, reflected and refracted by the water's surface, creates patterns that seem to flow like liquid silver across the waves, transforming the entire sea into a living canvas painted with brushstrokes of celestial radiance. As you stand on your cliff, breathing in the salt-scented air that carries hints of night-blooming sea flowers, you watch and wonder as the ocean reflects not just the rings themselves, but the spaces between them, creating the illusion of multiple skies layered one beneath another in depths that seem to extend infinitely downward. Each gentle wave acts as a lens, focusing and dispersing the ring light in patterns that are never quite the same from one moment to the next, ensuring that the ocean's surface presents a constantly changing display of cosmic artistry. The tides in this ringed world follow more complex patterns than those we might know, influenced not just by the familiar moon, but by the gravitational effects of the ring system itself. These enhanced tidal forces create shorelines that are constantly being reshaped by waters that seem to dance with the cosmic rhythms overhead. The beaches are painted with patterns that mirror the rings above, as the special tides leave behind traces of foam and seaweed arranged in graceful curves that echo the celestial bands stretching across the sky. Picture yourself walking along one of these cosmic beaches, your feet sinking into sand that sparkles with tiny fragments of ring material that have fallen to Earth over the millennia. These cosmic particles, mixed with ordinary sand and shells, create beaches that seem to glow with their own inner light, especially under the ring-illuminated night sky. Each step you take leaves footprints that briefly glitter with reflected ring light before being gently erased by waves that whisper secrets of the cosmic dance occurring hundreds of miles overhead. The marine life in these ringed oceans has evolved in harmony with the celestial display above, developing patterns and behaviors that seem designed to complement the cosmic beauty overhead. Fish swim in formations that echo the curved lines of the rings, their scales reflecting the gentle light in ways that create underwater aurora displays visible to swimmers and divers. Whales surface during the brightest ring nights, their massive forms silhouetted against the cosmic radiance as they sing songs that seem to harmonize with the visual rhythms of the celestial bands. As you continue your exploration of this water world, you notice that coastal communities have been built specifically to take advantage of the interaction between ring light and ocean reflection. Houses are positioned to capture the double illumination of both direct ring light and its reflection from the water, creating living spaces that seem to float in a sea of gentle radiance. Gardens extend right to the water's edge, filled with plants that thrive in the unique lighting conditions created by the combination of cosmic and reflected illumination. The fishing industry in this world follows rhythms dictated not just by lunar cycles, but by the patterns of ring light reflection on the water surface. Fishermen have learned that certain types of fish are most active when specific sections of the rings are perfectly reflected in calm waters, creating underwater light shows that attract and concentrate marine life in predictable patterns. Fishing boats equipped with specially designed mirrors can enhance these natural effects, creating artificial ring reflections that draw fish from great distances. Harbor towns built around these cosmic fishing rhythms become gathering places for communities that celebrate both the bounty of the sea and the beauty of the ringed sky. Evening markets, illuminated by both ring light and its ocean reflection, become festivals of light and color where the simple act of buying fresh fish becomes participation in a cosmic celebration. The boats returning from their daily voyages appear to sail across liquid starlight, their nets filled not just with the ocean's gifts, but with stories of beauty witnessed far from shore. Moving inland from the coast, you find yourself in a landscape where mountains rise like cosmic monuments toward the ringed sky, their peaks appearing to touch the celestial bands overhead. These mountain ranges create their own spectacular interactions with the rings, serving as natural observatories where the cosmic display can be viewed from angles impossible at sea level. From high mountain meadows, the rings appear closer and more detailed, their individual particles visible as countless points of light streaming in graceful processions across the star-filled darkness. The mountain silhouettes against the ringed sky create compositions of such beauty that they have inspired entire schools of art and philosophy. Painters attempt to capture the way jagged peaks seem to slice through the cosmic bands, creating the illusion that the mountains themselves are participating in the celestial dance. Photographers spend entire lifetimes trying to document the subtle ways that ring light interacts with mountain terrain, creating shadows and highlights that change throughout both the day and the seasons. Picture yourself climbing one of these cosmic mountains, following a trail that winds upward through forests of trees that have adapted to life under ring light. As you gain altitude, the quality of illumination changes subtly, becoming clearer and more intense as the atmosphere grows thinner. The ring light at high elevation has a crystalline quality that seems to make every detail of the landscape appear with supernatural clarity, as if the cosmic radiance has the power to reveal hidden aspects of reality that remain invisible at lower elevations. Mountain lakes in this ringed world are perhaps the most beautiful features of all, serving as perfect mirrors that reflect both the cosmic bands overhead and the peaks surrounding them. These high-altitude bodies of water create the illusion of being suspended between two identical worlds, one above and one below, both equally real and equally beautiful. The reflection of the rings in mountain lakes is so perfect that it often becomes impossible to tell which direction is up, creating a sense of floating in space surrounded by cosmic beauty on all sides. The communities that develop in these high mountain valleys learn to live in harmony with both the challenging terrain and the spectacular beauty surrounding them. Their architecture incorporates large windows and open courtyards designed to capture and display the interaction between mountain landscape and cosmic illumination. Terrace gardens follow the natural contours of the mountainsides, creating agricultural landscapes that seem to flow like frozen waterfalls toward the valley floors below. Alpine flowers in this world bloom in patterns that seem to echo the rings overhead, their petals arranged in spirals and curves that mirror the cosmic bands visible above. These flowers often emit fragrances that are most intense during the brightest ring nights, creating mountain meadows that engage all the senses in celebration of the cosmic beauty overhead. Walking through these high-altitude gardens feels like participating in a conversation between earth and sky, where every element of the landscape contributes to a unified expression of natural harmony. The interaction between weather patterns and the rings creates unique meteorological phenomena in mountainous regions. Ring light can intensify or diminish cloud formation, creating weather patterns that follow cosmic rather than purely terrestrial rhythms. Mountain storms illuminated by ring light become displays of incredible beauty, with lightning creating momentary bridges between the earthly peaks and the celestial bands overhead. Rain falling under ring light takes on an ethereal quality, each drop seeming to carry fragments of cosmic illumination toward the grateful earth below. Snow-covered peaks in this world create some of the most spectacular ring light displays imaginable. The fresh snow serves as a perfect reflector for the cosmic illumination, creating mountain ranges that seem to glow with their own inner light. Avalanches, when they occur, become rivers of liquid starlight flowing down mountainsides, their movement creating temporary sculptures of reflected ring light that are visible for miles across the valleys below. The psychological effect of living surrounded by such beauty is profound and lasting. Mountain communities develop what might be called elevation consciousness, a deep appreciation for perspective and overview that comes from living at heights where both earthly and cosmic beauty can be appreciated simultaneously. These communities often become centers of learning and wisdom, places where the combination of challenging terrain and spectacular beauty creates cultures that value both practical skills and aesthetic appreciation. Desert regions in this ringed world create their own unique interactions with cosmic light, where the clear, dry air allows for spectacular views of the ring system, while the sandy terrain creates patterns of reflected illumination that transform vast landscapes into shimmering seas of light and shadow. Desert nights under the rings are particularly magical, when the cosmic bands provide enough gentle illumination to make travel comfortable while never disturbing the profound silence that characterizes these arid regions. The sand dunes shaped by desert winds often take on patterns that echo the rings overhead, creating landscapes where earth and sky seem to mirror each other in endless recursive beauty. Oasis communities in these desert regions become gathering places for travelers who come not just for water and shade, but for the opportunity to witness some of the most spectacular ring light displays on the planet. Desert flowers that bloom only under ring light create seasonal displays that transform barren landscapes into gardens of cosmic beauty. Rivers flowing through this ringed world become highways of reflected light, their surfaces capturing and carrying cosmic illumination from mountain sources to ocean destinations. Following these rivers feels like tracing pathways of liquid starlight across the landscape, as the flowing water creates constantly changing patterns of reflection that connect inland regions to coastal areas through networks of luminous waterways. Waterfalls cascading from mountain heights create spectacular displays where ring light is broken into countless droplets, each one acting as a tiny prism that disperses cosmic illumination into rainbow displays that dance and shift with the movement of the falling water. These natural light shows become pilgrimage destinations for people seeking beauty and inspiration, places where the interaction between earthly water and cosmic light creates experiences that seem to transcend the normal boundaries between physical and spiritual reality. As you explore these varied landscapes, each one transformed by its interaction with the cosmic crown overhead, you begin to understand how the rings have influenced not just the appearance of this world, but its very essence. Every natural feature, from the smallest tide pool to the highest mountain peak, participates in the cosmic dance, contributing its own unique note to the universal symphony of beauty that defines existence under the ringed sky. The forests that grow under ring light develop their own characteristic appearance, with trees that seem to reach upward toward the cosmic bands with unusual grace and symmetry. Forest clearings become natural amphitheaters where ring light creates perfect conditions for gatherings and celebrations, while forest paths wind between trees whose leaves filter cosmic illumination into patterns of extraordinary beauty and complexity. Grasslands and prairies under the rings become seas of vegetation that seem to flow and wave in harmony with the cosmic bands overhead, their movement creating landscapes that appear to breathe with the same rhythm as the celestial display above. These vast open spaces become ideal locations for contemplating the relationship between earthly and cosmic beauty, where the interaction between terrestrial and celestial elements creates experiences of profound peace and wonder. As you rest in this landscape transformed by cosmic light, surrounded by the interaction between earthly beauty and celestial radiance, you feel yourself becoming part of the same harmonious relationship that connects all the natural features of this world to the cosmic crown overhead. The rings continue their ancient dance, their light playing across oceans and mountains, deserts and forests, rivers and lakes, creating a world where every landscape feature participates in the ongoing celebration of cosmic beauty that makes existence itself a form of art, a masterpiece painted on the canvas of reality by forces both earthly and divine. Chapter 9. Life Beneath the Luminous Bridge. As you rest in this peaceful landscape where cosmic light mingles with earthly beauty, allow your awareness to expand and embrace the countless forms of life that have evolved under this ringed sky, each one shaped by millions of years of gentle cosmic illumination. Picture yourself as a patient observer of nature, watching as the story of evolution unfolds in ways both familiar and wonderfully strange, guided by the constant presence of the celestial bands that have watched over this world since life first stirred in its primordial oceans. In this ringed world, the very process of evolution has been influenced by the cosmic crown overhead, creating ecosystems that are more interconnected, more harmonious, and more beautiful than anything we might imagine on our familiar Earth. The gentle, constant illumination provided by the rings has eliminated the harsh transitions between day and night that drive much of the competitive struggle for survival on unringed worlds. Instead, life here has evolved in an environment of abundance and gentle rhythms, creating species that are more cooperative, more aesthetically oriented, and more attuned to cosmic cycles than their counterparts elsewhere in the universe. Picture yourself walking through a forest where the trees have grown in spiraling patterns that echo the rings overhead, their branches arranged to capture and channel ring light in ways that benefit not just the individual tree, but the entire forest community. These cosmic trees, as they might be called, have developed leaves that are slightly more reflective than ordinary foliage, creating a canopy that glows with its own inner light even during the day. The pattern of their growth follows mathematical principles that mirror the orbital mechanics of the ring system, creating forests that are simultaneously functional ecosystems and living works of art. The flowers that bloom in these ring-light forests display colors and patterns that seem designed to complement the cosmic illumination overhead. Many species have evolved petals that change color subtly throughout the day in response to different qualities of ring light, creating gardens that present constantly shifting displays of beauty. Some flowers have developed the ability to store ring light in their petals during the day and release it gradually at night, creating natural night lights that guide nocturnal creatures along forest paths. The animals in this world have evolved behaviors that seem to celebrate rather than merely survive in their environment. Birds have developed songs that harmonize with the visual rhythms of the rings, their melodies following patterns that mirror the cosmic bands overhead. Many species sing most beautifully during ring eclipses and other celestial events, as if they understand that they are participating in cosmic celebrations that connect earthly life to universal rhythms. Imagine yourself sitting quietly in a meadow as evening approaches, watching as various creatures emerge to participate in what might be called the ring light ceremony. Deer step delicately into clearings where ring light creates natural spotlights, their movements graceful and deliberate, as if they know they are performing for a cosmic audience. Butterflies with wings that seem to capture and hold fragments of ring light flutter between flowers that glow with stored cosmic illumination, creating scenes of such beauty that they appear choreographed by forces beyond ordinary nature. The nocturnal animals in this world have evolved without the fear and desperate hunting behaviors that characterize night creatures on darker worlds. The gentle illumination provided by the rings allows predators and prey to see each other clearly, leading to hunting behaviors that are more like ritual dances than desperate struggles for survival. Wolves hunt in patterns that seem to honor their prey, following ancient protocols that ensure the continued health of both predator and prey populations, while creating spectacles of natural beauty that inspire rather than disturb observers. In the oceans beneath the rings, marine life has evolved in equally remarkable ways. Whales have developed migration patterns that follow the changing patterns of ring light reflection on the water surface, their journeys creating living maps that connect all the world's oceans in vast networks of beauty and purpose. Schools of fish swim in formations that mirror the ring segments overhead, their movements creating underwater displays that rival anything in the cosmic sky above. Dolphins in this world have evolved a form of echolocation that seems to be influenced by ring light patterns, their clicks and calls creating acoustic maps that somehow incorporate the visual beauty of the cosmic bands overhead. They often surface during the brightest ring nights to engage in behaviors that can only be described as celebratory, leaping and spinning in ways that seem designed to interact with the cosmic illumination streaming down from above. The plant life of this ringed world shows perhaps the most dramatic evolutionary adaptations. Many species have developed what botanists call cosmic photosynthesis, the ability to process not just ordinary sunlight, but the unique wavelengths of light that have been filtered and modified by passage through the ring system. These plants often display unusual vigor and longevity, with some tree species living for thousands of years while maintaining the appearance and vitality of much younger organisms. Certain flowers have evolved to bloom only during specific ring-light conditions, creating natural calendars that mark cosmic rather than purely terrestrial time. The ring rose, for example, opens its petals only when a particular segment of the rings reaches a specific angle relative to the horizon, creating blooms that appear like clockwork throughout the year, but following celestial rather than earthly rhythms. These cosmic flowers often emit fragrances that seem to enhance human consciousness, creating natural aromatherapy that promotes peace, creativity, and spiritual insight. The trees in ring-light forest have developed root systems that seem to communicate through networks that extend for miles underground, creating forest-wide consciousness that responds to changes in cosmic illumination as if the entire woodland were a single, vast organism. These forest networks can predict weather changes, coordinate blooming and fruiting cycles, and even influence the behavior of forest animals in ways that promote the health and beauty of the entire ecosystem. Picture yourself lying beneath one of these cosmic trees, feeling the subtle vibrations that travel through its root network as it communicates with its forest companions. The tree seems to pulse gently with the same rhythm as the rings overhead, creating a sense of connection that extends from your body through the tree and out into the vast network of forest consciousness that spans the continent. This is life as it was meant to be experienced, not as isolated struggle, but as participation in a vast, interconnected web of beauty and purpose. The insects in this world have evolved wings that interact with ring light in spectacular ways, creating flying displays that rival any cosmic phenomenon. Butterflies with wings that seem to be made of crystallized ring light flutter through meadows like living jewels, their flight patterns creating temporary sculptures of beauty that appear and disappear like thoughts made visible. Fireflies, enhanced by constant exposure to cosmic illumination, create night displays that seem to mirror the rings overhead, their synchronized flashing creating patterns that complement and enhance the celestial beauty above. The evolutionary pressure in this world has favored not just survival, but beauty, cooperation, and harmony with cosmic rhythms. Competition still exists, but it takes the form of creative expression rather than destructive conflict. Birds compete to sing the most beautiful songs, flowers compete to create the most spectacular displays, and even predators compete to hunt with the greatest grace and respect for their prey. Chapter 10. Cities in the Rings Embrace. As your understanding of life under the rings deepens, allow your imagination to carry you forward through time to witness how human civilization has developed in harmony with this cosmic crown, creating cities and cultures that reflect the beauty and wisdom gained from countless generations of living beneath the celestial bands. Picture yourself approaching one of these ringed world cities from a distance, watching as it emerges from the landscape like a natural extension of the cosmic beauty overhead, its architecture flowing and organic, designed to complement rather than compete with the magnificent display in the sky above. The cities built under rings are unlike any urban environments we might imagine, designed from the beginning to work in harmony with the cosmic illumination overhead rather than trying to replace it with artificial light. Buildings rise in graceful curves that echo the ring's geometry, their surfaces designed to capture and reflect cosmic light in ways that enhance rather than block the natural illumination. These structures seem to grow from the earth like organic formations, their walls incorporating materials that store ring light during the day and release it gently throughout the night. Imagine yourself walking through the central plaza of such a city during the evening hours, when the ring light creates perfect conditions for community gathering. The plaza's design follows principles of cosmic geometry, with pathways and gathering areas arranged to take advantage of the predictable patterns of ring light and shadow throughout the day. Fountains positioned at precise locations create water displays that interact with the cosmic illumination to produce ever-changing light shows, while carefully planned gardens ensure that there are always flowers blooming under optimal ring light conditions. The architecture of these cosmic cities incorporates what builders call light channeling, where the shape and orientation of buildings is designed to direct and focus ring light into specific areas at predetermined times. Public buildings often feature great halls with domed ceilings that concentrate cosmic illumination, creating spaces where important community meetings can take place under optimal lighting conditions. These halls serve as both functional spaces and temples to the cosmic beauty that makes such perfect illumination possible. Residential areas in these cities are planned around the natural rhythms of ring light, with different neighborhoods designed to receive peak illumination at different times of day. Morning districts feature homes and gardens oriented to catch the first ring light of dawn, creating communities of early risers who gather to watch the daily cosmic display together. Evening neighborhoods are designed to make the most of sunset ring light, becoming centers of social activity as the day winds down and people gather to appreciate the beauty of approaching night. The transportation systems in these cities follow the natural geometry suggested by the rings overhead, with major thoroughfares arranged in curves and spirals that echo the cosmic bands above. These ring roads not only move people efficiently through the urban landscape, but also serve as processional routes for festivals and celebrations that honor the cosmic crown overhead. Travel through these cities becomes a form of moving meditation, where the journey is as important and beautiful as the destination. Public art in ring cities takes forms that would be impossible in any other environment, using the cosmic illumination as both medium and inspiration. Sculptors create works that are designed to cast specific shadows under ring light, creating temporary artworks that appear and disappear throughout the day as the cosmic illumination changes. Musicians compose pieces that echo the visual rhythms of the rings, creating symphonies that seem to make the cosmic dance audible as well as visible. The markets and commercial districts of these cities operate according to cosmic rather than purely economic rhythms, with different types of goods being sold at times when ring light creates optimal conditions for their appreciation. Flower markets open during the morning hours when ring light enhances the colors and fragrances of blooms, while fabric merchants display their wares during afternoon periods when cosmic illumination reveals the true beauty of different textures and patterns. Educational institutions in these cities are built around the principle that learning should take place in harmony with cosmic rhythms rather than fighting against them. Schools feature classrooms with adjustable walls and ceilings that can be opened to allow ring light to flow freely through learning spaces, creating environments where students feel connected to the larger universe, even while focusing on specific subjects. The curriculum itself is organized around cosmic cycles, with different subjects being taught at times when ring light creates optimal conditions for different types of learning. The healing arts in these cities have developed in ways that take full advantage of the therapeutic properties of ring light, which has been found to promote both physical and emotional well-being. Hospitals are designed as gardens of light, with patient rooms oriented to receive specific types of cosmic illumination at different times of day. Recovery gardens feature plants that have been selected specifically for their ability to thrive under ring light and create environments that promote healing and peace. Picture yourself visiting one of these cosmic hospitals, observing how patients seem to recover more quickly and completely when their treatment is coordinated with the natural rhythms of ring light overhead. The medical practitioners in these facilities have learned to work with cosmic cycles, scheduling surgeries and treatments for times when specific types of ring light create optimal conditions for healing. The results speak for themselves. People live longer, healthier lives in harmony with the cosmic rhythms that govern all existence. The governance systems of these cities reflect the cooperative spirit fostered by living under the rings, with decision-making processes designed to achieve harmony rather than victory for competing factions. Council meetings are held in buildings designed to channel ring light in ways that promote calm discussion and wise decision-making, while important votes are often scheduled to coincide with specific cosmic events that are believed to enhance collective wisdom. The cultural life of these cities is perhaps their most remarkable feature, with art, music, and literature all developing in ways that celebrate and complement the cosmic beauty overhead. Theaters feature stages designed to incorporate ring light into dramatic presentations, creating performances where earthly actors seem to interact directly with cosmic forces. Concert halls use acoustic principles that seem to harmonize with the visual rhythms of the rings, creating musical experiences that engage multiple senses simultaneously. Libraries in these cities are designed as temples to both earthly knowledge and cosmic wisdom, with reading rooms that provide perfect ring light for comfortable study while maintaining sight lines to the cosmic bands overhead. The books themselves often incorporate themes that reflect life under the rings, with literature that explores the philosophical and spiritual implications of existence beneath a cosmic crown. The workshops and studios where artists and craftspeople create their work are designed to take advantage of different qualities of ring light throughout the day, with spaces dedicated to activities that require specific types of illumination. Painters work in studios oriented to receive morning ring light, when cosmic illumination enhances color perception, while sculptors prefer workshops that receive the more directional light that comes through ring gaps during midday hours. The religious and spiritual life of these cities reflects the deep connection between earthly existence and cosmic beauty that characterizes all aspects of life under the rings. Temples and meditation centers are designed as spaces where people can contemplate the relationship between individual consciousness and universal harmony, with architectural features that help focus attention on the cosmic dance overhead while maintaining connection to earthly community. As you explore these magnificent cities, observing how human civilization has evolved in harmony with cosmic beauty, you begin to understand that this is more than mere urban planning. It's a demonstration of how human culture can develop when it's guided by principles of beauty, harmony, and connection to larger rhythms rather than mere efficiency or competition. These cities serve as examples of what becomes possible when human creativity is inspired by cosmic beauty and guided by wisdom gained from generations of living in harmony with forces larger than individual human concerns. The children growing up in these cities develop with a natural understanding of their place in the cosmic order, their play and learning taking place in environments where earthly and celestial beauty are seamlessly integrated. They learn early that individual well-being is connected to community health, which is connected to environmental harmony, which is connected to cosmic beauty, creating citizens who understand instinctively that all things are part of a unified whole that must be honored and protected. As evening deepens over the cosmic city around you, you watch as the transition from day to night happens gradually and beautifully, with buildings beginning to glow softly with stored ring light, while the cosmic bands overhead intensify their own luminous display. The city becomes a constellation on the ground that mirrors the cosmic beauty above, a human creation that honors and celebrates the magnificent accident of existence that placed this world beneath its celestial crown. The rings continue their eternal dance overhead, their light blessing both the natural world and the human communities that have learned to live in harmony with cosmic beauty, creating a civilization that serves as an example of what becomes possible when human creativity is guided by wisdom, inspired by beauty, and connected to the rhythms that govern all existence in this vast and wonderful universe. Chapter 11: The Eternal Dance. As your journey through this ringed world draws to its gentle close, allow yourself to rest in the profound peace that comes from having witnessed beauty beyond imagination, from having experienced what it might feel like to live in harmony with cosmic forces that transform the very nature of existence itself. Picture yourself one final time beneath the magnificent celestial crown, feeling the soft ring light wash over you like benediction, carrying with you the deep understanding that you have glimpsed something sacred, a vision of how life might unfold when guided by principles of beauty, harmony, and connection to the larger rhythms that govern all existence. You have traveled through landscapes transformed by cosmic light, observed how life itself evolves differently under the influence of celestial beauty, and witnessed how human civilization can develop when inspired by wonder and guided by wisdom gained from living beneath a constant reminder of our place in the vast cosmic dance. Now, as you prepare to return your consciousness to familiar reality, take time to absorb the deeper lessons that this imaginary journey has revealed about the relationship between beauty and meaning, between individual existence and universal harmony. The rings overhead continue their eternal procession, unchanged by your observation, yet somehow enhanced by your appreciation. They serve as a reminder that beauty exists not for any practical purpose, but simply because the universe is capable of creating wonders that transcend utility and touch something deeper in the consciousness that observes them. In watching the cosmic dance, you have participated in it, becoming part of the same creative force that shapes galaxies and guides the flight of butterflies with equal care and attention. Consider how the gentle, constant illumination of the rings has shaped everything in this world. From the way flowers bloom to the manner in which cities are built, from the songs that birds sing to the dreams that children dream. This cosmic influence demonstrates how environmental beauty can become a force for positive evolution, encouraging cooperation over competition, wisdom over mere cleverness, harmony over conflict. The rings have shown you a world where external beauty nurtures internal peace, where the magnificence of the cosmos inspires the best rather than the worst in those who witness it. The civilizations that developed under this ringed sky have learned to align their rhythms with cosmic cycles, creating cultures that value patience over haste, contemplation over mere action, beauty over mere function. They demonstrate what becomes possible when human creativity is inspired by something larger than individual desire, when communities organize themselves around principles that honor both earthly needs and cosmic beauty. These societies serve as examples of sustainable happiness, ways of living that enhance rather than diminish the beauty that surrounds them. As you reflect on the journey you have taken, notice how the experience has affected your own relationship with beauty and wonder. The ringed world has shown you that magnificence is not reserved for special occasions or distant places, but can be woven into the fabric of daily existence when we learn to see our ordinary world through eyes that appreciate cosmic connection. The same forces that created the imaginary rings around this world, gravity, time, the patient accumulation of countless small influences, are at work in your own reality, creating patterns of beauty that await your recognition and appreciation. The rings have taught you about impermanence and permanence simultaneously, how individual moments of beauty pass like clouds across the sky, yet how the cosmic dance itself continues eternally, creating endless opportunities for wonder and renewal. Each sunset and sunrise under the rings is unique and unrepeatable, yet each one participates in patterns that have continued for millions of years and will continue for millions more. This paradox of transience and eternity offers profound comfort to those who learn to see themselves as part of the ongoing cosmic story. The gentle light that has illuminated your entire journey through this ringed world serves as a metaphor for the illumination that beauty brings to consciousness itself. Just as ring light transforms everything it touches without overwhelming or destroying it, genuine appreciation of beauty enhances awareness without demanding that we abandon practical concerns or earthly responsibilities. Beauty and practicality, wonder and wisdom, cosmic consciousness and daily life, all can coexist when we learn to live with the same harmony demonstrated by life under the rings. The animals you have observed in this world, birds that sing in harmony with cosmic rhythms, fish that swim in patterns that echo celestial bands, trees that grow in spirals that mirror cosmic geometry, offer examples of how all existence naturally seeks alignment with larger patterns of beauty and meaning. Humans, with their capacity for conscious appreciation and creative response to beauty, have the opportunity to participate in this cosmic harmony with full awareness, making choices that enhance rather than diminish the magnificence of existence. As you prepare to carry the peace and wisdom of this ringed world back into your ordinary reality, Remember that the capacity for wonder and appreciation that allowed you to experience this cosmic beauty exists within you always. The rings may exist only in imagination, but your ability to be moved by beauty, to find meaning in patterns that connect individual existence to universal harmony, to feel peace in the presence of something larger than personal concerns. This capacity is as real as anything in the physical world. The ringed world has shown you that paradise is not a place to be reached, but a way of seeing and being that can transform any environment into something sacred. The rings themselves are simply matter and energy following physical laws. Yet in their accidental beauty, they have created something that touches the deepest levels of consciousness and reveals truths about the nature of existence that cannot be expressed in any other way. Let the memory of the ring light carry you gently back to your familiar world, but with vision transformed by what you have witnessed. Look for the cosmic connections that exist in your everyday reality. The way morning light streams through your windows, the patterns that clouds make across the sky, the rhythms that connect your own heartbeat to the pulse of life around you. The same creative force that imagined rings around this world is at work in every sunset, every flower, every moment of unexpected beauty that graces your ordinary days. The rings continue their eternal dance overhead, patient and beautiful, reminding you always that you are part of something magnificent and mysterious, something worthy of wonder and gratitude. As their gentle light fades from your consciousness, carry with you the deep peace that comes from knowing you have touched something sacred, not because it exists in some distant realm, but because the same creative force that could imagine such beauty exists within you, available always to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary through the simple practice of appreciative awareness. Rest now in the knowledge that beauty is not separate from truth, that wonder is not separate from wisdom, that the cosmic dance you have witnessed in imagination reflects the same creative principles that govern your actual existence. The rings have shown you a glimpse of what becomes possible when consciousness learns to align itself with the forces of beauty and harmony that underlie all existence. This alignment is available to you always, as close as your next breath, as accessible as your willingness to see your ordinary world through eyes that recognize its participation in the cosmic dance that connects all things in eternal, ever-changing, ever-beautiful patterns of meaning and joy. The gentle ring light fades to the softer illumination of memory, but the peace it has brought remains, a permanent gift from the cosmic beauty you have witnessed, a reminder that you too are part of the magnificent accident of existence that creates wonders simply because the universe is capable of beauty beyond imagination, and you are capable of appreciating it.